Station 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good morning and welcome into Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Wyatt Lukashenski with Kale Zomer up in the WBEV studio, making us sound good this morning. And Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering. And it's also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Randy and his team with Professional Floor Covering is here to help you design the perfect space. They have over 1,000 samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, tile, area rugs, and window finishings, but it is so much more than floors. They have a wide selection of kitchen and bathroom countertops, cabinets, tiles, shower inserts, and more. You talk about countertops, whether it is in your kitchen or your bathroom, it's one of the first things people see when you walk in that room. The material, the color, pattern of a countertop all play a major role in how that remodel is going to turn out. And they offer a wide selection of quartz, granite, marble, and laminate countertops. So they are here to help you find the perfect one that fits both your lifestyle and your design. I'm excited this morning. We have a very intelligent room on our hands right now. I'm telling you, I feel out of place right now. I'm very excited. I'm joined by Melissa Hemling, Owen Hemling, and Scarlett Pfister first. We are going to be doing a little bit of musical chairs this morning because we do have 5 students in here to talk about a really cool opportunity that they just had to go through. Before we dive into that, I would love to, first of all, welcome you to the show, but can you tell us who you are and where you're at maybe in school and how we got here?
Well, I'll go first because I'm the teacher in the group. So I'm Melissa Hemling. I teach chemistry at Beaver Dam High School. I've been teaching there for about 15 years, but I just transitioned to a new role this summer as the coordinator for secondary teaching and learning. So I am the one that heard about this experience and got people signed up we got some scholarships, and I'm going to let these guys introduce. There's 5 of them that went to UW-Madison this past week for a science research camp. So I'll have Owen go next.
Yeah, so I'm Owen Hemling. I'm going to be a senior this year at Beaver Dam High School.
I'm Scarlett Pfister. I'm also going to be a senior at Beaver Dam.
Okay, so we got 2 seniors in the building. Owen, we were just talking, I know you a little bit from FA because we have an FA legend here himself, Aiden Voigt. So I would love to ask both of you, even as we get started, we have the Morgridge Science Camp that you had an opportunity to be at this last week. For people like me, that I'm reading through this thing and it's going over my head. What exactly was this and what were you able to do?
Yeah, so the science camp was kind of an opportunity for kids to experience college life at UW-Madison, but also see some new science technology that they're kind of working on there. So we did all sorts of things like stem cells, GMOs, we did some material science. So just over the course of the week, we did a whole bunch of different kind of experiments or labs. We got to tour a bunch of places. So it's just a really cool experience, especially for kids like us who don't maybe live in Madison and don't have that same opportunity to go see all these cool high-tech facilities. So it was a really cool opportunity for us.
Yeah, and I'll jump in here. So this camp is specifically for rural students, so students that wouldn't be close to academic university. And so the donors are giving money to get kids in so they could experience something that they normally wouldn't have experienced based on where they live.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be pulling up some pictures throughout the day. I'll throw up a few now if you're watching on DailyDodgeTV. But I'm looking at this, and I remember going through my high school, and I was even out in a little bit more of an urban area. But this is this looks like the movies when you're going through this right now. I mean, you got the giant gowns, you got all the high-tech equipment around you. I got to ask, because you're saying we were doing stem cells, we were doing all these cool events. When you say that, what were you actually doing? Was it doing experiments? What did you actually do?
So first we got to work with cardiomyocytes, which are heart muscle stem cells. And so we got to test what caffeine, the effect of caffeine on those heart cells. And it actually had no effect because they weren't connected to your body. So it was just all over the place. It didn't speed them up or slow them down. It was just random. And then we also got to test how you would prepare stem cells if you're going to go do an experiment with them, and it was really cool.
I can imagine. I mean, they wouldn't even trust me around the building, let alone inside of it. So when you're doing this, is it like one of those what you have the eyedroppers, and it's like you pour it into a petri dish, and then you're staring at it under a microscope.
Yeah, more or less. So like we had like they're called like pipets, and they're basically just those like turkey baster or eyedropper type things where you just suck up
Wait,
the
what
little
are they
liquid.
called?
Pipets.
I never knew
P-I-P-E-T.
those had a name like
Yeah.
that. I thought they were literally eyedroppers.
Pipette. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
Big
I've been
word.
saying eyedropper.
Yeah, but that same kind of thing there. And so, like Scarlett said, the cardiomyocytes are those stem cells that they just take a skin cell, like from just an adult, and they have a process that they change them into a stem cell, which if you don't know is a kind of like a base cell. So it's just like a blank cell that can be transformed into basically any cell in your body. So these ones were then, they had some processes that they went through to turn them into a heart cell. So then you could, in this petri dish, under the microscope, we could see all the heart cells kind of beating together. So you could see them beating. And then like Scarlett said, we added caffeine to them to see if they would beat faster or slower and see what happens with that. So we did a lot of experiments like that throughout the week.
Wow. So that's unbelievable, first of all. And the fact that you're able to explain exactly why they're doing these experiments too, that's really cool, and it's very impressive stuff. I can't even imagine. So again, you're looking at these things underneath, and for the faster, slower caffeine with the heart stuff. So when you're doing that, is there like other metrics? Are we using like stopwatches, or are we counting per minute, like how much this is going?
So like when we're actually measuring it, it was just like a normal like measuring your heart rate. We just like looked at the little blob of cells, counted how many times it contracted in 15 seconds, multiplied it by 4, and got the BPM for it. And so
that's smarter. I was going to just count for an entire minute. So that's
we didn't have time. We were moving. We were doing a lot of things this week. We had to save some time here and there. You know what I mean?
Well, you're absolutely right. And it's funny because you hear about stem cells a lot. I feel like it pops up a lot in like the news, and you'll read about it. But that's like the really well explained, where I didn't realize. So it's almost like they're chameleons, where they can be a part of anything else in the body. That's wild. I've never thought of it that way. So when you're working with that, well, what exactly are you doing with the stem cells, or are you creating them in this experiment, or?
Yeah, so we didn't create them. The lab assistants and like the students there that helped out with us and taught us all this stuff, they created them beforehand and had like the little petri dish of the cells. But we got to run the experiments that they would run like on their day-to-day basis in their classes, which was super cool to do.
Yeah, I believe it. We're gonna have to step aside for a quick break, but when we come back, we have a lot more fun stuff to talk about, because this sounds like a fascinating camp. So when we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit of that. And Melissa, I'd love to hear from you, from the teacher perspective, how this event went as well. But we'll do that right here on the other side of the break on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering. It's also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. We're talking Morgridge Science Camp with Melissa Hemling, Owen Hemling, and Scarlett Pfister. And Melissa, I am very curious from a teacher's perspective. I'm listening to these two talk about what they actually went through, and it's blowing my mind at how high of a level they can explain it. From your perspective, how much of a success was this? How cool was this experience overall?
Yeah, I think it was like an amazing experience for our students. So we're able to bring 5 with scholarships for 5 that they reached out to us. The Mortgage Research Center reached out to me and said we have 5 spots that we can give your students, being rural and everything like that, to give them this experience. And so we got kids to apply. They come, first serve, and we got the 5 groups. And being a teacher, kind of witnessing this, it's really a high level. And I like just what they could do is things that we just can't do at the high school. We just don't have the tools or the really like we're looking at like $1 million microscopes that they were like building there at the campus that they're using, and students got to like use and work with. And
$1 million
like,
microscopes?
Oh yeah, and sky's like the limit. So it was just these things that we wouldn't be able to bring to our high school. So this is a very unique opportunity for our students. And in general, Beaver Dam, our staff is very involved. That across the board, I know I would teach science, but across the board, our teachers are out there always finding experience for students. And as a science teacher, like, if I'm here to inspire kids at the next level of science, this was just such a great opportunity to get them on campus, on a research facility, and then get them actually like doing stuff with postdocs, graduate students, with the PIs there, all those people. So it was really cool. And as teachers, they brought us aside and they taught us some stuff and showed us some stuff too. So it was a good experience for both the teachers and the students.
I believe it.
Yeah,
And from your the decision, I guess, for 5 students, it's no surprise getting to talk to these 5
Yeah.
even before the show, a little bit during the breaks, that you found out or what you landed on this group. But what went into that process of determining who are the 5 students that are going to be able to go to this?
Yeah, it was kind of like a blur because it was a very quick process. They contacted me and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get my name on this list. So we're going to get some students there. And then I reached out. These guys were all going to be in my AP chemistry class. So I wanted to give them the opportunities because I knew they're in science. And so it was just kind of a first come, first serve because they were all like high level students. And I knew that they're interested in science. So, and high schoolers are really busy. To give up a week of their life in the summer with jobs and all the other commitments they have, it's really difficult. So I'm really glad that these guys were able to, all 5 of them were able to donate their week and experience campus and have some fun.
I think it says a lot about you, too, that you are willing to put another week of work in during the middle of the summer because you understand how cool this opportunity is. This is a really, really neat thing that you got to experience. Stoichiometry broke me. That was the point when talking science where it all went downhill. I was doing great, and then you get the stoic, and I was done. It was game, set, match. And you're in AP chemistry. That's unbelievable. That was probably like easy stuff for you, right? I mean, stoichiometry. It's like you probably don't even worry about that, huh?
Yeah, balancing equations. You're like, yep, easy stuff.
Oh gosh, better people than me. Well, so during the break, we were kind of like setting it up and trying to figure out what we really wanted to dive into that you did, and 2 topics came up. We had GMOs, and we talked about that microscope, too.
Yeah.
I would love to start with GMOs because I know that it has to do with, like, the agricultural field, but I really don't know what it is. Can you explain what GMOs are and then what you actually did working with them in these labs over this week?
GMOs are genetically modified organisms, and Owen's really good at explaining what they are, but I can talk about what we did after he explains what they are.
Yeah, okay. So GMOs, they're both plants and animals, and they're anything that scientists have like gone in and modified the genetic code for. So most of the times these are plants, just because they're a lot easier to work with. There's also some animals, but what we did at the camp was we worked with the plant side of things, especially corn, because a lot of, if not almost all corn is genetically modified. So like Scarlett will explain in a second here, we're trying to see if these corn products that we brought in would be containing those genetically modified organisms.
Wow.
So At camp, we took a corn-based food and we tested it against a leaf that was genetically modified and a soybean that wasn't. And so we did a lot of processes to like get the DNA out of these things. So we had to like crush it up and like have the cells release that DNA and then take out all the extra stuff that's in the DNA like RNA and just spin it in the centrifuge a bunch of times to get this liquid at the top and the DNA all the way at the bottom of the tube and extract out the liquid. And then we put it into this machine that does the polymerase chain reaction, which it heats and cools the DNA really fast so that it just keeps replicating really fast so we can have enough DNA to work with when we're doing these things. And so to compare the DNA to each other, we do this thing called gel electrophoresis, which it takes the DNA, you put it into these wells, and it uses charges to pull the DNA. And so it splits the DNA into fragments. And so the longer fragments go a shorter length in this gel, and then the shorter ones go a long way. And so it kind of just divides that up so you can compare the lengths of these DNA fragments to each other. And so we saw that my group, we did a taco shell. That's what we did for our food. And so we saw that the taco shell had the same kind of DNA as the genetically modified leaf that we used. And so that's kind of how you tell if the things are genetically modified, because there's this one promoter called the S35 that is in all like the genetically modified corn, and it's just this promoter that gets replaced in the DNA with the regular, so that's what we looked for, and we got to see that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like simple terms. It's kind of like they're getting fingerprints. So they did all this fancy stuff, and she did a great job explaining all this fancy stuff to get these fingerprints, and they're comparing their fingerprints to see if there's like this unique thing in that taco shell that they did compared to the one that they knew had some genetically modified things, and then they could say like, oh, this was genetically modified.
I felt like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with The Office, but there's explain it to me like I'm 5. And I needed that because right after I'm like trying to follow, I'm like hearing these words I'd never heard before. And I'm like, okay, all right, they're going fast, they're separating it. That is fascinating. Where do you guys even get the science, like this love for it to be where you're at right now? Because I don't even think I was in the same zip code as you when I was growing up.
I just think there's so many cool different things that you can do with science, and there's so many things that you just don't know. It's just, so you can just try and figure it out. It's just like always something that you have to figure out, which it like really makes your brain think.
Yeah, be problem solving, be able to think on your feet. That's a good way to look at it. And for you, where did this passion for science? I imagine that having a mother that actually teaches chemistry has to help a little bit.
That definitely helps, especially when it's something that's like so new to me. I haven't taken a chemistry class, so this was like all brand new to me in terms of like the process that we did. But I really think it's just like the teachers that I've had in the past. Both my mom mentioned at the high school, we have a wonderful staff that is so good at their jobs and is really good at getting people interested in any subject that they're teaching. So I've been blessed to have those teachers, as well as even back to my elementary school teachers at South Beaver Dam, having people that really love their job and wanted to share their love for science with me kind of really helped me get to where I am today. And I've been really grateful for that, because having teachers that are passionate about what they're teaching is a huge thing to have.
Wow, well said from both of you. I mean, you guys have me ready to run through a brick wall on this Monday morning right here. This is unbelievable. There's one other thing I do want to talk about before we go to break here in a couple minutes. The $1 million microscope.
Yeah.
I can't even like process that in my mind. How like extremely I'm trying to find the right word. Magnified. Nice job, Wally. How extremely magnified is this magnifying device?
So the most magnified we looked at was a single molecule. So so like
What do you
if you think
mean?
about like water, you have that H2O molecule. So like 3 atoms there, right? So
You can see the three. together.
Yeah, so what it looked like for us was it was kind of like a bright little like light. So like think about like a really tiny star up in the sky. So that's what it looked like. It was a molecule that was like a bioluminescent type molecule, so it just like emitted light. So they had this big laser. This is why it's so expensive. They had this laser that they shot through this whole like little chain of mirrors.
It took up a whole room.
Yeah.
It took up it's an open.
Wait,
cage.
this thing
It's
is like
very
a room.
homemade.
So it's like a
they
table.
made it themselves.
It's a table the size of like this room, and it's just like this laser is going through this different little path all the way to this microscope that we look into, and there's these little dots that glow if that molecule's there. So we can see all these individual molecules, and it was really cool to see. So like a normal microscope, you can like zoom in on a fruit fly and see like a fruit fly like size of like an apple, right? This thing, you could see the little molecules. So it's really cool to like, we would never have this experience without this camp. Like there is no way we're finding this anywhere close to us, right? So it's really cool to see.
I can't imagine that there's like too many of these microscopes out there in the world too. Maybe like a university here and there has them, but I mean, when you're talking about being able to see literal molecule, I thought you were going to be able to tell me like if you're talking about the fly, for example, oh, we can see each individual like thing in it's eye. No, this
is a molecule. It was just a tiny little thing. It was super cool.
It was the first time for me as well to see a molecule.
And and the nice thing is they went through like the science with us and explained how this all worked from like square one. We sat down, we got to go in the lecture halls, so we got that experience of college too. And these grad students explained to us what they do on a day-to-day basis, how it works, and then we went into the room and got to see this microscope that they built, and then see these molecules. So it was a really cool experience.
It sounds like it was unbelievable. I want to thank all three of you for joining me this morning here. I know we are going to have to step aside for a break. We'll be talking with Diana with Parkville Shopping Center in a few moments, but then we're going to come back and welcome on three new or different students to talk a little bit about this. And I'm excited to see how they can blow my mind the way that you three have so far this morning. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside. We'll be back here in a few minutes here on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
friend of mine, and she goes to me, "Do you know it's August?" And I go, "I know." I said, "The summer it just zinged by." But you know what? We got to think about this back to school stuff, Wally.
We do. What should I be doing? Where should I be going over at the Park Village Shopping Center if I need to get my supplies?
Well, you can get your supplies at Hobby Lobby. Of course, they got some there. And, of course, Fox Brothers Piggly Wiggly's got some supplies for you if you need that as well. But let's think about haircuts for the kids going back to school.
Good point.
I mean, you got to be looking good, Wally. You can't just roll in there with your summer do. You know, you got to be looking sharp. You got to.
You only get one shot to make a first impression on the year, Diana.
Well, you do, and Cost Cutters will hook you right up.
Ooh, that's
so
a great
you got that
call.
going on. Absolutely. Cost Cutters got you right up. The other thing is, when's the last time you had your child's eyes checked?
I was going to say, I haven't had my own eyes checked in forever, so I'm sure a lot of people have been taking a little bit too much time.
I'm thinking. So, you know, Shopco Optical is right over there. So get your back-to-school eyes checked. You know, the kids, they're going to be reading books. They're going to be looking at stuff. And you want to make sure, you know, 2 + 2 = Jell-O, you know, Wally.
That's
so
true. That's a good... Well, I tell you what, too, when I get, after the first day of school, one of my favorite traditions when I was growing up, my mom would take my brother and I out to eat. And I know when you go over to Park Village Shopping Center, you can do the same kind of tradition because you have options out the wazoo over there.
We do. You do now. I mean, again, we could go to Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins. We got that going on. Of course, Mickey D's is over there. Cousin Subs, and I will scream at the top of the mountain. Cousin Subs has the best mac and cheese on the planet.
I haven't had it yet.
Buddy, you gotta get it. It's so good. Creamy, rich Wisconsin cheese. Come on.
You know what? I'll report back. I gotta try it out. I know I had my cookie and cream ice cream from Baskin one on Friday night, so I gotta make sure I'm ready for that.
I'm telling you, and their cheese curds are to die for too. So you got that going on. Of course, you got Sake House going on. So there's a plethora of things that you can have for food. Get your supplies, Hobby Lobby, Fox Brothers. Get your eyes checked at Shopco Optical. Get your back-to-school look going on. And gals, if you need to get your nails done, pedicure, manicure, you got to go to Wonder Nails. I mean, you just got to look. You got to show up looking sharp, Wally.
Hey, that's the truth. I was going to say, there's no shame. You can get a pedi, too. I know my guy friends and I, we've done that before on a bachelor party trip. There ain't no shame. You got to make sure you look good.
Well, you got to have your toes looking good because I'm not going to date you if you got bad-looking toes. I'm just saying.
It's just facts. It's just facts.
It's just facts. No, so at the Park Village Shopping Center, we got you covered from head to toe, inside, outside. We got it all going on. And, you know, back to school is right around the corner, so you want to make sure you take care of your kiddos. And, hey, you know, by the way, you may want to look good, too. Drop the kids off. You just go to Elevated Yoga and hang out and relax. So the moms are covered, the dads are covered. We got you going on.
That's why you're the best, Diana. You know I have to ask for that famous catchphrase of yours before we let you go this morning.
Well, I shop Park Village Shopping Center. You should, too.
Love it. Every single time. 10 out of 10. Diana, you're the absolute greatest. I can't wait till we're talking again. Did I lose Diana? Diana down. All right, well, I guess we lost her at a good part of the interview at the very end. But we're going to step aside for one final break this morning. And when we come back, we got to talk about the Morgridge Science Camp down at Madison with some very intelligent Beaver Dam students. That's coming up next year on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Very excited this morning. I am joined by some of the brightest over at Beaver Dam High School. We have Tyler Winkle, Mia, what's right the first time? Well, get there right. Mia Nortman and Izzy Bedker. And we have been talking about the Morgridge Science Camp. And even in this break right now, you guys are blowing my mind with some of the things we're talking about. I want to leave the floor with you. First of all, I guess, can you introduce yourself? And then can you tell me a little bit about what you did at this science camp?
My name is Izzy Bedker, and I'm a junior at Beaver Dam High School.
Yeah, I'm Tyler, and I'm going to be an upcoming senior at Beaver Dam High School.
I'm Mia, and I'm going to be a junior at Beaver Dam.
All right, well, I got to ask, kind of like I was asking earlier today, is there something that stood out from doing this experience? Because my mind is being blown even hearing about this.
Me personally, the thing that was probably the most memorable for me was just like getting to experience all the facilities because they have so many different things. So like even if you're not interested in biochemistry, they have a bunch of different things that you can go into, like with microscopes or with biology. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I'm not going to be a scientist. I'm actually going to be an engineer, but seeing how the science produces some of the things that engineers use is really cool. Like one example is, I don't know if the listeners heard Owen talking about those fluorescents and that like big expensive $1 million telescope. I mean,
Microscope.
I can't even speak.
I know I had to like hurry and get in because it was like the one answer I had today.
Yeah, that microscope, you can actually see chemical bonds bonding. So Suzuki actually makes a gear, and they can see that the chemical bonds, they'll light up when they look at it in the camera, and they can see it's sound and it's safe. And I think that's just really cool seeing it being manufactured and used in industry. So
Fascinating.
yeah.
That is fascinating. You can actually see the bond taking place.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then I have to move down here, Mia. What was it for you? What stood out?
So I love science. I've always loved science. My dad's a biology teacher. But I think the best thing was hearing everybody's story and how they came to be at Madison or how they started like studying what they are learning about. And I think all the stories, like most of the time I heard like people when they started going to college, they're like, oh yeah, I started studying this. And then they would tell a crazy story of like a for instance or something that was like may not have happened. Like if it didn't happen, they probably continue on. But they switched up and they would like, and for me to hear that, I was like, oh, okay, so like if I want to go into something, I can switch and that be okay and still learn so many things. And yeah, and I think that was just amazing to hear as well.
Yeah, it allows you to kind of take a risk. And then if it doesn't work out, it's no problem. Then maybe I find another passion. Maybe that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I know before we lost the other group here earlier today, we were almost like all talking about like, what do I want to talk about? Because there was so much that came from this. And you each had something. And I would love to go down the line again. And then, I guess, Izzy, I'll start with you.
Okay.
Because you were talking about, you had to do this like presentation?
Yeah, at the end of the Morgridge Science Camp, they actually bring in all the donors for us to talk to because we are all there on scholarship. It's not something where we can just go or we pay for it. There's other people in the community that want us to be there, and they pay for our time there, and I think that that's really amazing. So we kind of come together and we take pictures throughout the week, make summaries of what we did each day, and we show it off to all the different people at the science camp that have paid for us to be here and have given their time for us. And I really enjoyed hearing their stories from when they were younger in science and how that differs from us now also, and that they are very interested in the facilities that we have. Even in Beaver Dam, I had a lot of people asking, like, do you have good facilities? Do you have people that want you to learn science? I think that was a really nice experience, too, to see that there are people that do care about, like, our futures in science.
Well said. Huge shout out and huge thank you to those donors to make this possible. I'm saying thank you on my own behalf because this morning, it's Monday morning. You start a little slow. This has been like a kick in my backside right now. I was going to say, seeing how passionate and smart this group has been, so thank you as well. But then I guess moving down the line here, Tyler, got to ask you, you had something you wanted to share and talk about. What is it? I'm kind of eager to hear it now.
I know it sounds a little weird, but it's actually about nuclear. And So in the labs, not with humans, of course, but with rats and other animals, they'd actually not rats, E. coli cells, bacteria, and all of that. They'd actually tag the mutation with radiation, and then they'd see it move and spread in a microscope, testing this radiation and seeing how it spreads as a group. I thought that was very interesting.
So what are they trying to accomplish with that? Is that like for medicine or something in people, or how's that work?
They're actually studying the E. coli to see how they can help people benefit from it, create antibiotics based off of it. It's more just in the research state, so they're just studying this, but I thought it was really cool that they were using some of these different techniques to actually watch how the bacteria moves and how it grows and stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine that being something that would intrigue you at least. I mean, this is a week long, right? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a week long. You said long days that you're doing this. I can only imagine. Are these labs like 2-3 hours at a time? What was that like?
They're about 2.5 hours, I'd say. And I mean, I think the most rewarding thing is you actually got to see the result at the end.
Okay. Because I was going to say, staying mentally fresh when you're going from one to another of these had to have been a challenge in its own right.
Yeah,
It was hard, definitely, because sometimes you're just like, I just kind of want to, like, I just need a break, or like I just want to be done. But overall, like, science is just so cool, and I think it's always like refreshing to see like, oh, this is science, and I get to see the final result, and it's always rewarding in a sense. So yeah. And
I have to ask you, you're not off the hook either. Last one down the line. I know there was something you wanted to share. What was that?
So the first day, like, we were actually there, we went to different labs, and like they studied E. coli, but it was the coolest part for me was just seeing how it functioned, and they showed us all these different things that they would use that were like a lot of money, but it was multiple things, and they'd be like, yeah, like this is a couple grand or like $100,000, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it myself. Like, it was kind of a dream to be like, this is where it all happens. This is where they find cures for things, or they study this really cool, like something that's really cool in science and up and coming, and it's I think it's just amazing that we were able to see something like that, and I think we're very lucky, because in high school, you just do like labs that your school is able to fund and do, but for us to be able to actually see the inside of a lab and see what is going on in science right now, I think it's just unbelievable that we are able to do that.
It's really well said, because I think a lot of people, myself included, you take a lot of the advancements we've made for granted, because you go to school, you have your high school classes where, at least for me, I remember dissecting a rat, I remember doing all the stuff with that, but then it was just like, oh, cool. It almost was like only movies I would ever see these labs, and to know that you got to experience it firsthand and see these things, it's an unbelievably cool thing that you got to do.
And all the undergrads and all the professionals that were there helping us, they really helped us explain like what they were doing very well. Even if some of us didn't have as big of a background as they do, of course, but they would tell us how this is used in the real world, and that was most important for me, because it shows the research is actually going towards something, and it's actually possible to get in their field. They shared their experiences in high school and stuff, saying, man, I could do what this guy does someday, and that's kind of cool.
Is there anything, I guess, to you, with only a few minutes left, that stood out as a favorite, where you're like, that's something, if I do want to go into the sciences down in my career road, that's something maybe I want to get myself involved in?
Well, I'm really interested in environmental studies and like ocean conservation specifically. And
it's an important one, especially right now.
Probably one of my favorite things that we did was we studied the mutation on flies, like fruit flies.
The mutation on flies. So when you say that, what do you mean?
Okay, so fruit flies and humans actually have a very similar like internal structure. Like they have and process things the same way that humans do most of the time. So if you like impact like us with the sickness, it'll probably react the same way if you put that in a fruit fly.
What? Yeah. You wouldn't think about fruit flies and humans being very similar in that respect.
And their genetics and their cells are very easy to actually harvest, so you're able to study them just like a human, but you don't have the human cells, so you're using the flies to study some of these diseases that humans are faced with.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, my mouth was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, like science is just so cool, and that we we like found that out to like, cause like what are the chances that like it's like, oh, a fruit fly and a human, they're like,
Yeah,
way
like
more in
what was
like,
the first person that figured that out thinking? Like,
Yeah.
I bet you that fly over there.
We share some common,
Yeah.
you know.
It's crazy to me. Well, thank you three. I guess I'll give you the final word. We only got about 40 seconds left. Is there anything else that you want to share or anything at all? Really appreciate you coming in this morning.
I think the best thing was just all the friends we made. I
Yeah.
mean, we had people 4.5 hours away that we would never meet, and we had game nights with everyone. It was just a cool experience to have a bunch of like-minded people wanting to develop science, and you were able to talk with them, and we get all their numbers, and all the health professionals and they gave us their emails, and they were
that's really
able to
cool.
contact them if we're ever interested, or if we wanted to do undergrad research when we do eventually go to school. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like I personally thought it was just really rewarding as a whole to go through this process. And I know it sounds like tiring. You wake up and you have to eat breakfast from like 7 to 8, and then you are doing science until noon, and then you take an hour break and you go right back until 5 o'clock. But I feel like my brain was being put towards something like actually that's going to benefit me. And so, I don't know, it made me feel like I could sleep easier at night, and I'd wake up and I was ready to do something. It's not like I felt kind of brain dead on my phone a lot of times. It's like I actually felt like it
Not
was...
just aimlessly scrolling TikTok.
Yeah, it's like it felt like a really great experience, and it like made me realize that this kind of research does benefit me, and it is something that I would like want to continue doing.
Well, congratulations, you three. I'm really excited to hear how it goes. Good luck in your senior year. Good luck in your junior years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear. I'm sure we'll have you back on in the future, but future's very bright for you. And thank you for giving us a little bit of your time this morning.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Hometown Today. Huge thank you and shout out to Kayla as always, making us sound good. But that is it for us today. We'll see you back same time, same place tomorrow on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.